Alright, what is up, y'all? Rich Homie Cower back again with another banger video. It is so nice out today. It's like 90 degrees today during like the end of April. Definitely looking forward to the warm weather. But for today's video, we are going to go over the top 7 things you should look out for when you're buying a used Scat Pack Hellcat. And this video even applies to the RTs, GTs, and SXTs. So let's get into it. Man, you definitely know it's spring because look at all that pollen. It's crazy. This definitely needs a wash, and man, look at this. This is crazy. Just wanted to give you a full walk around. I mean, it's even worse in those crevices, but I just wanted to give you guys a full walk around and update on the car. I mean, it's doing really well, almost at 2K miles. First 1,000 miles in this car was super hard to accomplish because I bought this car right when winter started, and you know, the next 1K, you know, almost there, I got like 800 miles in a span of like 2 weeks. So pretty good. I mean, car is good so far, and I love it. I bought this car brand new with about 2 miles on the dash when I test drove the car, and then when I actually, you know, signed the paperwork, it said like 12 or 14 miles on the registration or whatever, right? But yeah, bought the car brand new, and I would recommend, if you're buying a performance-oriented car, I would buy it brand new. But you know, there's a lot of caveats to buying a brand new car. You got, number one is depreciation. I mean, Scat Packs, Hellcats, they are prone to depreciation. They're not depreciation proof, and it is what it is. I mean, the prices on these are going high like crazy, and I think if I were to sell this car, from what I bought it at, I would actually make some profit. But I mean, the used car market is crazy nowadays, so I wouldn't use that as a judge. But like, you know, a lot of, you know, performance oriented cars, Mustang Camaros, BMW M3s, M4s, M5s, I mean, if you buy it brand new and sell it, you're gonna lose, you know, a good amount of money. That's the reason why people go with the used route. I would always recommend buying a used car if you're gonna get your daily commuter, but a performance oriented car that you see a lot of videos of people doing burnouts and sliding around and doing takeovers, I would definitely recommend buying new, but of course when the price is right. So if you're buying used, here are the top 7 things you need to look out for, or I recommend to, you know, check before you know, sign the dotted line and purchase it. So let's get into number 1. All right, so number 1 is Hemi Tick. So definitely you gotta look out for Hemi Tick, and you know, I'll show you what a healthy engine sounds like. All right, so this is what a healthy engine sounds like. I mean, you don't hear any ticking or any engine knock, and the reason that you would get the ticking is due to the lifters. So if you have, you know, your automatic Scat Packs or LTs, I mean, you have those lifters that engages 4-cylinder mode, and then those lifters can get bad and you start hearing the tick, 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 and I'll try to insert a clip if I find it.
The tapping or rapping seems to be almost every second.
I think if you get the, you know, manual Hellcats, Scat Packs, or LTs, you are immune from the ticking sound. Obviously, when you test drive it, just make sure you open up the hood, take a nice close listen to the engine. If you hear any of that ticking sound, then of course I would just steer clear of it. Just a quick note about the Hellcats. One thing to look out for are the supercharger bearings going bad. I mean, you can hear it. I'll post a clip of it. Obviously, you do not want to buy a car where the previous owner has been doing burnouts like every day, right? Which is going to affect the longevity of the car and you know, you don't want that, right? No one wants a car that has been like, you know, on its last legs. So a good way to tell, other than looking at the inner fenders, because that can be washed, right, is to look in behind these air vents. So of course these are functional air vents, and if you do a bunch of burnouts, you know, more times than not, all the little rubber pieces are going to go through the air vents and of course stick behind the walls in there. They can stick to this actual piece. This is plastic, and hot rubber, when they meet plastic, of course it like melts a little bit and they like get stuck behind. So if you shine a flashlight and you see a lot of like pieces of rubber stuck on the vents, or if you look under here, if you see a lot of pieces of rubber, you know, stick behind there, then you definitely know the person has been doing a lot of burnouts. And you know, that's a place where people usually don't wash, right? Because that's all the way up under there, and you know, you can tell that a person has been doing a lot of burnouts because that's a place where, you know, all of the, you know, tire rubber goes through the air vents, sticks, you know, in this area, and you know, people usually don't take the pressure washer under there too often, right? So that's a nice telltale way to, or telltale sign. So that's a nice telltale sign to know if the previous owner has been just doing burnouts like nonstop, because you know, more times than not, if you're doing a whole bunch of burnouts, all that rubber is got to stick somewhere, right? Other than the ground, it has to stick somewhere. So that's a good sign to tell. All right, so the third thing to look out for before purchasing a used Scat Pack is if the Scat Pack has over 15 to 20,000 miles, or if it's at least 2 years old. I would ask the previous owner or the dealership if they have replaced the brakes, or at least inspected it, because these brakes are expensive. For the Scat Packs, Hellcats with the 6-piston Brembo brakes, you know, it's going to be a $2,000 job to replace all the brakes and rotors. And if you want to do it on the 4 pistons, it's still over $1,000. So why would you want to, you know, invest or not invest, you know, buy a 30, you know, high 30s to low $40,000 Scat Pack, and a month later you got to spend another $1,000 or $2,000 to replace the brakes? That's why I would say, you know, ask the previous owner, ask the dealer if they replaced the brakes, and if they say no, there's no need, then I would probably say to avoid it, or you know, or at least, you know that a $1,000 or $2,000 expense is coming your way. And of course, if you're buying a Scat Pack with, you know, 30 or 40,000 miles, then of course ask them if the brakes have been changed, because by then the brakes and rotors should have been changed at least twice by now. All right, so going back to the engine again, with thing number 4, or the fourth thing you should look out for is, of course, checking the oil. Very simple. I mean, you just take a look at the oil indicator, oil life on the screen, and if it's, you know, pretty close to like 30 or 20 or even 40, I would say, hey, you know, the oil change is needed pretty soon. Can you do it? Or at least can you throw in a couple oil changes with the car? And of course, that's when you buy a car from a dealership. But if it's with the previous owner, you can say, hey, it needs an oil change soon. It's not cheap. It's like $100. Can you knock off $100 off the price? And that's a good way to save some money. Also, of course, always pull this up and feel the oil. If it's gritty, then of course, you know, engine shot, right? But you know, that's a quick way to at least save yourself some money. Make sure, check the oil life. You know, it's pretty quick to check the oil life. I don't know how many times I can tell you that other people, when they purchase their car, they're like, oh crap, I have an oil change soon. My oil life says it's like at 30%. So, I mean, that's how dealers or, you know, private sellers get you. They just want to save on money. Why spend extra $30 or, you know, and in this case, you know, $100 to $150 to change the oil when you could do it yourself. So the fifth thing to look out for before you purchase a used, you know, Scat Pack, Hellcat, whatever, is take a look at the front bumper. So if you're buying used Chargers with the bumper guards on and it's like 10, 15, 20,000 miles, then I can definitely guarantee you that, you know, the bottom lip portion there and there are shot. Like, so much pebble and dirt has probably gotten under that and just scratched it. I would recommend, you know, bringing a flathead screwdriver, asking the dealer, you know, or the person to, if you can take it off. And I mean, it's like a 1-minute job. You can just take it off. There's 2 rivets, push rivets on the bottom. Just unplug those and you can check. And then if they are shot, you can say, hey, you got to knock off the price, a couple hundred, or fix them for me. And of course, you know, hopefully they oblige to that and you can get your car looking nice and good. Another thing to look out for with your front bumper is, you know, just feel the bottom of your bumper. If it's all scraped up, scratched up, then, you know, the previous owner was probably just, you know, not taking care of the car and just going over speed bumps or potholes or hills at like 20-30 miles an hour. Then, you know, that can definitely tell you what the previous owner thought of this car and, you know, didn't really take care of it. And of course, you can knock a couple $100s off or have them at least fix it. While I'm still on the topic of the front bumper, I mean, with these front bumpers, they are very easy to tell if the car has been in a frontal collision, because I've seen a bunch of, you know, used Scat Packs that have been hit before, fixed improperly, especially right here with the bumper and the hood realigned. Usually I would see the bumper sitting a little bit lower than the hood, or vice versa. The bumper will be sitting up and the hood will be a little bit low, so it'll be some kind of like, I don't know, it's not like a smooth straight transition, it's kind of like a valley. And of course, I mean, there's some cars that have been in frontal collisions that, you know, they've been fixed and look good, but I mean, I really don't trust cars that have been in an accident before, unless if I was there at the scene and it didn't really look bad. But I mean, if they're charging you, you know, KBB, excellent, you know, value condition when the car has been in a frontal collision, then I would definitely, you know, try to avoid that. These and the Chrysler 300s, for some reason, when they've been in the frontal collisions, the bumper, when they fix it, the bumpers don't align too well. And of course, like every used car guide out there, they'll tell you, you know, just to check all the linings of the hood and the fender, and of course all the doors. But I'm not gonna tell you that, because that's like every used car guide, right? Also, another thing I've seen when people purchase these cars is if they have, you know, stripes and it's been in a frontal collision, usually the place that's fixing it doesn't put the stripes back on the front bumper. So if you see stripes missing on your front bumper, then obviously the car has been in some frontal collision, or, you know, they might have taken the stripes off for some reason to repaint the bumper or whatever. But I mean, that's, you know, a good way to tell. You can say, you can ask them, hey, why are these stripes off? They might lie to you. But if they're charging, you know, KBB, excellent value, and you see the stripes are missing, then that's kind of like, you know, a little sus there. But yeah, that's, you know, the 5th thing you should look out for before you purchase a used Scat Pack or Hellcat. All right, the 6th thing to look for before purchasing a used Scat Pack or Hellcat is check the seat wear. I mean, there's some wear on this. These seats wear pretty quickly. I mean, I am a bigger person, so I guess that's why it kind of wears pretty quickly up here. But usually with Scat Packs with a lot of miles, you start to see some cracks here. And of course, take a look at the wear on the gas and the brake pedal. And if you see, you know, a lot of wear, especially at the lower right corner of the brake pedal and at the gas pedal, then you definitely know people have been driving this car a ton, or they're just like jumping into the car or whatever. I don't know. But the reason why I'm saying this is because, you know, if the miles look too good to be true, if the car says 5 or 10,000 miles, but I mean the interior looks, you know, kind of used, and a good way to tell is with seat wear here and the brake and gas pedal wear there. That's a good way to tell, you know, if the miles have been rolled back or anything. Usually with these cars, you don't really hear of any tales of people rolling back miles, but it has been done before. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. And of course, you know, you can check the Carfax, but the Carfax, you know, is not foolproof. So if you want to really check, you know, the car has 20,000 miles, does it really have 20,000 miles? From, you know, a normal use perspective, check the wear on the seat. If you see a bunch of cracking here and, you know, the gas pedal and brake pedal has been worn down, you see like, you know, these rubber spots have been like, you know, not sanded down, but like, you know, worn down from friction from a bunch of use, then of course, you know, the car probably has way over than 5,000 or 20,000 or whatever they listed it at. All right, the seventh thing to look out for is, you know, make sure you get the Carfax. And if the dealer or the private party owner is like, nah, I don't want to get you a Carfax, it's a little bit sketchy, then I would say, you know what, I don't want it then. Because I mean, a Carfax is what, 30 bucks, and if you don't want to pay the 30 bucks to, you know, let me see the history of the car, then fine, then just walk away, because they're probably hiding something, or, you know, you don't want to deal with those types of people that are kind of shady, right? So I would say make sure you get the Carfax, and if it's with the private owner, you can say, hey, if you get me the Carfax, you know, I can pay the 30 bucks on top if I decide to purchase the car. So that's, you know, the seventh thing to look out for, or seventh thing to, you know, to do is, of course, get the Carfax, make sure everything looks in tip-top shape. And, you know, once the body looks in good shape, the interior, the engine, check the Carfax, and then if everything looks good, then I would say, yep, you can go ahead and purchase it. These are the 7 things to definitely look out for when you're buying your car, so it can save you on money, as well as you can keep the car for a long time if you want. There's always the buy new route, which saves you from a lot of this headache and checking of the car, but hey, there might not be a deal out there for new Scat Packs, and the used Scat Pack might be the best option, which, hey, you know, at least you're getting a Scat Pack or a Hellcat either way, why not? So yeah, y'all, hope you enjoyed this quick little video. I appreciate everybody for watching. I mean, we're close to like 1,500 subscribers and on the road to 2K, so I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you so much for your views, and we're finally monetized, so thank you all for that. Make sure you run them ads, and make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all the love. This is Rich Homie Cow signing out.